Welcome once again to the NOCD webinar that we do on every Wednesday night. It's kind of our welcome to the end of Wednesday moment that we all get to share together, and that many of you now are already pre-chatting on, which I think is wonderful to see all of you with your questions on there already. So, couple of things. Number one, this webinar is brought to you by NOCD, NOCD platform available to you as your source for teletherapy. And launching this week, actually launched already this week, had our first one, child and adolescent. That's right. We are now seeing children 6 and above. So hooray, everyone. We can work with you if you are under 18 and your family, and help you learn exposure and response prevention. So, good to know. Go to treatmyocd.com and you can set up a free 15-minute consult with our care team. And of course, that little yellow sticky message is going to show up there up in the upper right corner, right over there at some point in time. And we'll have a little thing for you to go to as well. Sometimes you want to find something to worry about, like review past obsessions, invent some new intrusive thoughts in the form of visual images, as if my mind does not deserve relaxation. What can I do to drop this toxic habit, please? Well, this is a pretty common one, actually, among people with obsessive compulsive disorder. In fact, sometimes I even have people say, I'm afraid to get treatment because I've only known what it's like to have OCD, and I'm scared to not have OCD because I don't know what life will be like without OCD. So, not uncommon. And I think part of it is you could really see a good effect here of mindfulness, or meditation practice could be very, very helpful in just allowing yourself to sit with silence, right? To sit without having to review things, to really practice letting things go. There are some wonderful guided meditations for this on YouTube that I have patients use all the time. And I would highly recommend that that's where you start going, is to get into a mindfulness meditation type of practice and allow yourself to practice this. Now, this will be an exposure for you, right? And the response prevention piece will not be not just giving in to everything that the OCD wants. So we want you to sit with the discomfort, and we want you to learn that you can handle the things that you are afraid of. That is the goal. And if it's uncomfortable sitting with your thoughts as they come and feeling like you have to do something and look into them, or you're just uncomfortable with not having thoughts being reviewed all the time, then you must work on practicing not having thoughts to review, and you can do that through some mindfulness meditation exercises. Hello, Sarah. Your spouse is working out and you're scared you will catch the virus through him if you are close. How can you control these fears? Well, boy, that's an interesting one, because obviously if your spouse is working out and he is coming within a certain distance of people who are also working out, or if things are not being kind of wiped down as they're being suggested right now between workouts, then I suppose that there would be some concern that, you know, it's beyond what we suggest with the CDC guidelines right now, which are we stay 6 feet apart from each other. And if we are going to be closer to each other, then we do what we need to do to stay protected, right? So in our own homes, we don't have to really do anything. Some places are suggesting people wear masks if they go out and they're going to be closer distances than 6 feet to each other. In gyms, there's the concern, I suppose, of sweat and all of those types of things too. So you might consider asking your spouse if, until the worst of this is over, would they think about either not going to the gym, working out at home, modifying their workout, or that if they are at the gym, that they are 6 feet from other people and that they are wiping down the equipment between people, which should hopefully be helpful as well too. So Sarah, feel free to work on taking a stand in this type of situation and trying to find a compromise, I think. I don't think it's about controlling the fears. I think that when people do go out, especially in a situation like that where there might be other people close by, there could be some concerns to be considered. And so therefore, you work on compromising. Jane wants to know how to handle intrusive thoughts. Well, the easiest answer, Jane, is to sit with those thoughts and just allow them to be there. That is how you deal with them. Once, Jane, you try to make them go away, they get worse. And everyone knows what's coming up now, because every time this question comes up every week, what do? That's right. My friend the pink elephant has returned once again. So, Jane, if I told you don't think of a pink elephant, what would you think of? And you would think of a pink elephant, of course. And Jane, I told you not to think of a pink elephant, so I'm wondering why you thought of a pink elephant. So maybe, Jane, the issue isn't trying not to think of a pink elephant, because that will make you think of it. Maybe the actual way to stop thinking about a pink elephant is to purposely think of a pink elephant, because once you purposely think of a pink elephant for a while, you'll find yourself starting to think of other things, because it's actually hard to hold on to that thought after a while. So the response prevention part of therapy, which is the most important part of exposure and response prevention, is to purposely sit with that uncomfortable experience or thought or feeling or image or urge and realize you can handle it. Thank you. Zoya, some people claim that OCD is chronic, but I don't understand how that's possible. I know that thoughts themselves are never going to go away, but I'm assuming once you recover, it won't bring you the same amount of distress and anxiety you recovered from HOCD. Those thoughts don't bother you anymore. How is OCD chronic if so many people recover and get their lives back? Well, so I think what they're saying chronic-wise is that there's a difference between something curable and not curable, right? So chronic in the sense that you'll always have OCD and there may always be twinges of things that will be coming up for you. Or it may appear in another form at some point in time too. So if you've been treated for OCD, I've never once said to anybody they've been cured. I've said you've now learned how to handle OCD. So OCD could be a chronic condition in the sense that you learn how to handle it, but it's something that's potentially always in the background for people. And I haven't met anyone who went through treatment who said, I've never had OCD ever again after treatment. I'm not saying that that's not a possibility, but it's such a rarity that's not what I'm going to focus the work that I do on, of hoping that happens. My work is going to focus with people on getting them to recognize that you now have skills and tools to utilize to challenge the thoughts and the images and the urges that pop into your head, so that you've now learned how to handle them in such a way that you're not doing compulsions and you're not seeking immediate gratification, but you're sitting with the discomfort. And after you've done that long enough, then you're not even uncomfortable anymore. Anna wants to have children, but has POCD. She's too scared to bathe or change them. She's scared. Oh, you do want to have children. Okay. You fear that you will act on your intrusive thoughts. Do you have any advice? So Anna, I'm going to assume that while driving, you've been cut off in traffic and thought that you would ram your car into other people. So I'm wondering how many times you've actually done that. Or when in the middle of a meeting, if somebody's talking and you think they're just an idiot, because, I mean, let's face it, isn't there one in most meetings all of us go to? And in the middle of that meeting, you've just thought about reaching over the desk, grabbing them by the throat and punching them in the face. How many times have you done that, Anna? So here's the issue, Anna. Just because we have a thought of something doesn't make it happen. Now, we did this last week, but I'm going to do it again. I would like everyone to stare at their ceiling in the room they are in right now and wish for it to collapse on top of all of us in the next 10 seconds. Go. Okay. Mine didn't collapse. I don't know that any of yours did. And I'm going to assume it didn't, and therefore I'm also going to assume that thoughts don't make things happen. So, Anna, you're living in a world where you think that a thought can cause something to occur, but I would challenge you that you have so many thoughts all the time that don't make anything happen. Why are you okay with those, but this one you think does have to make something happen? Consider that. And then do some therapy. So get yourself hooked up maybe with a NOCD therapist who has teletherapy available through the NOCD app, which you can download for free from the Google Store, Play Store, or the iOS Store. Or find yourself a therapist in your area or a support group or something like that as well too. But you can recognize that there are plenty of people who have had POCD who have had children and have been able to work on that. Do I know when NOCD telehealth will be accepting insurance? Very soon, actually. We are in final stages of working all those things out. I mean, it's seriously coming amazingly soon. Zoya, what if you have proof that your fear could be real? Well, we all have quote unquote proof that our fears could be real, right? I mean, there have been people who have rammed into other people's cars. So now if I have the thought, could it be real that I could do it too because other people have done it? Well, I mean, could I do it? Yes, absolutely, I could. In fact, I'm going to tell all of you a story, a very interesting story. Sometimes when I'm with a group of people and we're doing a group of around OCD, with that, I should say a group of people with OCD, not just random groups of people do I tell the story to, but a group of people who have OCD, and we have a lot of people with harm OCD. And people in there will tell all the stories about all the ways that they think, what if I were to harm someone? What if I were to do this? And they think that they're just the scariest, most awful, horrible people in the world. Now, none of them in this group have actually done any of the things that they are thinking about what if they were to do. But they are all very much afraid that by now having had the thought of doing that thing, that could lead them to do it. So eventually I ask everyone in the group, I say, have any of you ever tried to kill anyone? And the room sits there and they're like, well, no. This look on their face, like, why would you even ask that? That's awful. No, oh my gosh. But I'm so afraid. What if I were? And so then I'll say, well, that's interesting because I kind of did try that one time. And what had happened was we were just waiting in line at a restaurant, me and my mom and dad and my sister. And this car pulls up and a guy gets out of the passenger seat and he walks up to the woman who was running the desk at the restaurant. And it was one of those wait outside restaurants. It was a beautiful summer day with the outdoor patio and everything. And he goes up to her and she's like, okay. And then she says to him, okay, you can be next. Well, they hadn't been waiting in line and we'd been waiting for 20 minutes and we were going to be next. And so when my mom heard that, she looks at me and says, well, that was rude. And the guy stops and he turns around and he looked at me and he said, are you with her? And I said, yeah. And then he said, you effing tell her never to talk to me like that. And as he said the word again, because he grabbed my neck as he was talking like that. So he's got his hand on my throat. He's like, you fucking tell her, never tell anything. And as he said the word again, I punched him in the face and I broke his nose. So he goes flying backwards, but he's got my shirt and it's like Superman. The buttons are popping off and I'm starting to see everything in slow motion now, so I see a button going there, a button going there. I'm like, oh, wow, look, that's my buttons. It's like that scene in Spider-Man when the guy goes to punch him and he kind of gets out of the way and he's looking around and, everything is like a different speed for him. I felt that when that was happening. And, so then he comes back at me and he gets his hands around my neck. And so I'm like, okay, well, so I do the same thing around him and we're like doing this to each other. And my sisters like pulling away, going, stop fighting. I'm like, whatever. And my mom is on this side. She's trying to pull us apart. My dad's on this side. And my dad, great, just comes from the side, just bam, pops him in the side of the head. And that was great because my dad knocked him pretty good. But the problem was that when he did that, the guy went like this. Well, he hit my mom with his elbow and he hit her so hard. She went kind of in the air and fell backwards. And I saw her head just bounce off the sidewalk, like literally just like boom. And the look on her face when that happened and I lost it. I mean, I went into like battle rage, if you're playing D&D, D20 plus 9,000 kind of crap going on here. And I got medieval on this guy and I just beat the crap out of him until it happened that 4 police officers were driving down the street and all jumped out of their car, 2 cops in each car. One took this guy and my dad out because my dad was holding him there while I was punching the guy and using him as a punching bag. And there was one guy from the restaurant who had grabbed my left arm, but I had my right arm still going. I had another guy around my waist. I had planted my feet. I wasn't moving. So 3 cops and these 2 guys are on top of me. And this is where I learned what adrenaline does, actually. I'm on the ground and I just bring my arms up and I do a push-up. I've got 5 people on me. I lifted over 1,000 pounds with a push-up without any problem. And 2 things stopped me. One, I looked up and I saw the guy's kids had gotten out of the car and were staring at me like, this guy's going to kill my dad. And number 2, the police said, we will mace you if you don't stop. And then I was just like, and that was it. And bam, the fight, flight, or freeze response was gone and it was done and everything like that. And the cops get all the information and they find out, yeah, that guy started it. And the police are shaking my hand, go, you protected your family and good job. And you saw what he did to your mom. Excellent work. And they even made him come over and apologize. Good old Chicago police officers. It was wonderful. But did I lose it there for a while? Yeah, I totally did. I was not in my mind. You know why? Because I actually had a trigger and a reason to do it. It didn't happen because I thought, what if I just suddenly look at this guy standing in line and just beat the utter crap out of him? It wasn't that. It was someone has attacked my family and is harming them, and I have to stop it to make sure that no one else gets hurt. And I'm going to do that. And that wasn't even conscious. It was just, your family's harmed, protect, right? So potentially, of all of us online here, I might be the most dangerous person in this conversation tonight. Or I did what I did to protect the people I love, but I would never do that thinking about it because we've all had those thoughts and it's never led us to do those things. So I hope that story helps and gives you a bit of an idea about what we're really talking about here. Okay. You're listening to the NOCD weekly webinar. If you want to contact NOCD about therapy, go up to the little thing in the corner there, click on that link, or download the NOCD app. Hi, Renee. Happy Wednesday to you as well. During this stressful time, your work is mainly on the phone. You find yourself not wanting to talk to anyone, but just email. For someone who has OCD, is that normal, just to feel off during this time? Yeah, I mean, everybody feels off, right? It's an off feeling for lots of people. We're all kind of in a weird position right now. We're suddenly put into a place that no one expected, no one prepared for, no one has ever practiced for before, right? So yeah, it's odd, it's weird, but I'm glad, Renee, you're recognizing that. And so, Renee, for exposure and response prevention, I do want you to talk on the phone, right? In fact, I want you to purposely call people, even if you don't necessarily have to, and just practice being on the phone and sitting with the discomfort of that and allowing yourself to learn that you can handle that, okay? Hi, Terrence. If your thoughts and feelings shouldn't dictate how you act in a relationship, how do you find out if your feelings toward your partner are legitimate? Well, how about this? Terrence, do you find that being with that person is fun, is enjoyable? Outside of any feelings of love or like or anything like that, when you guys or girls or whoever you're with are out together, are you having a good time? Do you find that you enjoy spending time with them? Now, of course, OCD will come in and say, well, maybe you don't. But recognize this. Those maybe you don't questions are OCD. And those maybe you don't questions counteract the feelings that you're probably actually experiencing, right? So I would go with the opposite of what the maybe you don't questions are and see what happens in your relationship and test that out and see how it goes. Give that a try. Let me know how it works next week. Is somatic OCD curable? Well, I don't talk about, again, any OCD being curable, but you can definitely learn how to handle it so that it doesn't have to have a big influence in your life. So I would look at it that way. Okay, you're wondering if intrusions can just be a feeling that something is wrong rather than a thought. Yes, so remember this, OCD is thoughts, images, or urges, right? So it could be any of those kinds of things. It could be a weird feeling or something like that too. It doesn't have to be really necessarily a put together type of thought that somebody had. It's discomfort. So think of it that way as well. So thanks for bringing that up. I really appreciate that. Lots of hellos to everybody. Wow, this is so nice. What a friendly group we have here. I love this. We're all like having a great time together. Lisa, why does your OCD seem to be or get worse under a lot of stress, or if you're really tired or lack of sleep? Well, because OCD is an opportunistic jerk, that's why. And whenever there's other things going on, OCD likes to get in the mix and say, hey, idiot, I've got a cure for you. If you just do what I tell you to do, everything's fine or okay. Oh, you seem a little weak right now to be fighting against certain things. Well, let me take over and just do that for you, and then I can handle everything. You just go ahead and sleep or nap or be lazy, and I'll just beat the crap out of you for the next couple of hours, and that'll help you, and that'll make everything better. And that's the way OCD does things. So in fact, many women around their period report that OCD is worse too. There seems to be some hormonal and types of issues that can come along with as well. We can even see that for women who are having children, but men also get it too. We call it perinatal OCD, fears that you might harm your child or do something wrong with your child or something like that too, especially around the birth time as well. So that can happen too. So yes. Anytime that you're maybe not at your best, if you're tired or sleepy or stressed, OCD wants to come on in and say, hey, I've got the cure and the solution for all this. I can fix it all if you just do what I tell you to do. Elizabeth, you know the NOCD EPIS therapist, but it's only available in the USA. You live in Australia and can't access this. Your OCD is fairly severe and really need help quickly. Is there another platform I can use? Well, there's not another platform that I know that you can use for Australia. I mean, you can definitely use our message board for NOCD, so I hope that that's helpful. And there are some pretty good therapists in Australia as well, too. In fact, one of my best friends in the entire world is a therapist in Australia. His name is Dr. Brett Deacon, D-E-A-C-O-N. You might want to look him up and see if he might be available to work with you. Okay, so that's Dr. Brett Deacon, D-E-A-C-O-N. I hope that that would be helpful for you. Melanie says you need to know, need to know OCD and hoarding disorder. It's so hard to stop saving things on social media. Yes. So need to know OCD, as in I have to have all the information that I possibly can about every possible thing in case I would ever need that information at some point in time. And what if someone else might need that information? How exciting would it be for me to say, hey, listen, I have that information already. I'm going to get that information for you so that you don't have to worry about it because I'll find it. And so then what a lot of people do will save up stuff. And now we have seen some people go from saving up actual physical things to hard drives and computers full of more and more stuff and more information and stuff like that. So Melanie, I would ask you this. Your exposure and response prevention therapy program, if you don't have one, and if you don't have one, it's a good idea to start one, would be to work on slowly and gradually coming up with a list of what is the most important data to keep versus down to what's the least important data to keep, and start to work on a purging program for the least important data as you work up to the most important stuff. Okay. Now, if we're doing hoarding work for people who actually have physical hoarding, we could do the 4-box method, right? There's a keep box, there's a donate box, there's a recycle box, there's a garbage box. And you don't get any new boxes until you fill all 4 of them. You can effectively reduce down to a quarter of what people have by doing that method. Okay. With information hoarding, it could be, you've got 4 computers, you're going to get all this down to 1 computer, right? Which means 3/4 of that stuff's going to probably have to go. And you can find some really good organizers. There are professional organizers out there that could be helpful in this situation as well. Steve wonders how to approach heavy dissociation, depersonalization, or derealization as a result of OCD and how to get rid of it and start living in reality and feel real. Well, Steve, there's one thing that we can add to obsessive compulsive disorder treatment and exposure and response prevention for OCD, which is we can actually do interoceptive exposure. And what are interoceptive exposures? Interoceptive exposures are exposures to physical sensations. So you might do things like running in place, hyperventilate, breathe through straws. I would encourage all of you to look up interoceptive exposures. In fact, I'm going to put this in the comment right now, just so you can all see that. interoceptive, and if you go online and look that up, you'll be able to get some worksheets that will have different interoceptive exposure exercises that you can do. There's a couple of really good ones for derealization or depersonalization. There's a YouTube that I like to use for people. It's called Natural Hallucination. And if you go onto YouTube and type in natural hallucination, you will find that there is a very great video to watch. And if you keep staring at the dot in the center, you'll get an interesting effect, and it will probably mimic some of the derealization or depersonalization experiences that you have. And you can keep practicing doing those over and over again until you learn that you don't need to be afraid of them. Some people's ERP is, well, I have to keep doing my compulsions because if I don't, then I might get that derealization or depersonalization experience and I'm really uncomfortable with it and I don't want it. So I'm going to keep doing my compulsions just so that I don't get that. And that can keep us very stuck in OCD. But if you are stuck in OCD, you can use the NOCD app as a way to help you, and the teletherapy available through the NOCD app. And you can go right up to the corner up there and click on that link, or go to treatmyocd.com, and that could be helpful as well too. Anna feels that her compulsions prevent her from acting out and harming someone. If you don't try to stop the thoughts, they might come true. How can I overcome this? So Anna, what I would like you to do is I would like you to, let's see, what's a good one? Oh, okay. Tomorrow, if it's a nice day, I want you to sit on your porch and I want you to have a baseball or something in your hand. And every time a car drives by, I want you to think about throwing the ball at the car. And then at the end of the day, let's see if you've actually done it, okay? But I truly want you to think about doing that while you have the ball in your hand, and let's see if it actually makes it occur. And by the end of the day, when it doesn't happen, I hope you'll realize that your thoughts don't make things happen and that you don't need to be afraid of any thoughts or images or urges that you might have. Give it a try. Let me know next week how it goes. B, how does HOCD cause false attraction to friends? Well, because HOCD is telling you, hey, don't find them attractive. Now remember, don't find them attractive, which leads you to go, do I find them attractive? What if I did find them? Oh my gosh. And you can then start wondering if you do find someone attractive, which can then make you think maybe I do find them attractive. And remember, it's doubt. And so that can eventually lead you to maybe I actually think they're attractive, right? So that's basically how it does it. By telling you not to find something attractive, it's going to make you lead you to think it's attractive. It's just how OCD is. You're going to get the opposite all the time. Sanjita. You also sometimes have the feeling that something is wrong, and it's almost like your mind is looking for something to worry about. It then leads to obsessions, which lead to compulsions. Yes, so kind of what we talked about right at the beginning, that some people are always on the lookout for something wrong. And maybe that's the way some people's OCD kind of manifests, which is there's always something to be afraid of, so you should always be looking at it for it, because if you don't look for it and then something happens, you won't have predicted it. Wouldn't that be awful and horrible? So I'd say this, most people's in their life, most people's probably most planned day of their life is their wedding. I still haven't been to a wedding yet where something didn't go wrong. So here's tons and tons and tons of planning that people have done. And guess what? Still, to this day, every wedding I've gone to, something's gone wrong. So do they have to always look for something to go wrong? Well, it's a waste of time in many ways, because maybe you could think of the top 10 things that might happen, but after that, the rarity of things that happen, even though they do once in a while, isn't something that you can ever predict 100%. And if you're unwilling to accept the fact that things are going to go wrong, it's very hard life to live, if that's the case, because there's always going to be things that go wrong. I mean, you might turn your phone on tomorrow and the battery didn't charge, right? I mean, it could be that simple, or it could be that you have to leave your house because there's a gas leak. That's a pretty big one. But every day there's going to be something that probably goes wrong or not the way that we want it to. And what we'll notice over time is OCD is going to lead us to be like more and more and more that happens. So our threshold for finding something going wrong gets lower and lower and lower over time. And then it's just easy to find something wrong in everything that happens in our life, if that's the case. But if you want help with that, use the NOCD app and the teletherapy provided. Tanya, what are some recommendations on staying positive, daily self-talk, writing, or saying things we are grateful for? I love those things. I think they're wonderful. If you were on last week or 2 weeks ago, I talked about my challenge to all of you was to do something selfless for somebody, and you don't even have to know the person, right? It could be that in these COVID-19 times, you make fun little signs and you go around to all your neighbors and you put a sign on their lawn that says, "Have a happy day." That'd be fun, right? You got a hospital near you? Order a pizza for the emergency room doctors. They're probably sick of hospital food, right? Just something. Maybe not just worry about how do you find joy for yourself, but you might find joy in giving joy to other people as well, too. So get out of your house, go for a walk, stay off the screens and all the bad news that we just hear all the time, right? But you can write things and you can do things you are grateful for. But you know what? Don't just write them down. If you're grateful for someone else, send them a note and let them know that you're grateful. And how about handwriting that note and using a stamp instead of an email, right? Get a nice card for somebody. Show some effort in these types of things, and they might really appreciate that. And then you might get a nice one back from them, and think about how good you'll feel if that happens to you. So try some of those things. See what you think. Anna, do you have any exposure ideas for POCD? You live outside the US and don't have access to therapists, so you're doing the best self-guided stuff. Yeah. Well, Anna, the best thing, which is hard right now maybe because it's harder to be around children at the moment, but you know, I've gone with patients to a fast food restaurant where there's a playland. There's a Burger King down the street that has one here. That I would send people to if that were the case, if they were here in Wisconsin. Where else could you go? The mall usually has a child's area, so you can sit by there. You can sit in a food court and be in the middle of families, or if there's a kid's birthday party going on somewhere, try to sit close to it and just be there, right? Just be in that vicinity and learn that you can be around children and it doesn't mean that you are a danger to them. I think that would be a great thing to start with. Right now in the home, if it's easier to do because we can't go out, you can watch YouTube videos of kids' birthday parties and various things, and recognize that the that pop into your head about kids don't mean that you're actually a dangerous, awful, horrible person. They are a reflection of your obsessive compulsive disorder. So keep watching those videos until those thoughts no longer pop into your head anymore, and teach yourself that you can habituate to them and that those thoughts can go away on their own without having to try to make them go away. So I hope that helps. As distressing as OCD is, you believe it protects you from doing dangerous things. You avoid chemicals, germs, and risky behavior due to your fears. You don't know if you can trust yourself to make good decisions if they aren't based in fear. You've been doing this for 30 years. So, Tay, you're one of those people that I would make the statement to. You're spending the rest of your life sitting at your tombstone wondering when you're going to be 30 or 6 feet under it, instead of living your life and showing up on the day of your death at your tombstone with a martini in one hand and a chocolate bar in the other, saying, "Damn, that was a great time." Now, I get that your life is kind of like that Alanis Morissette song, Ironic, right? And the fear might be, yeah, the day that I stop doing some of these things might be the day something bad actually happens. And here's the deal, Tay. It might be, right? It could very well be. But according to you, then, because we believe that something bad could happen to people, we shouldn't do anything, then invention will stop today, because all invention is risky. There could be things that go wrong and backfire. So after today, our society will not progress anymore. We won't test any vaccines out on anybody because there are people who do volunteer to be test subjects for vaccines. But since that could be dangerous, no one in the world will ever do that again after today. So our medical knowledge will end as of today. All inventions will end as of today. There will be no new technological updates because things could go wrong or be risky. Maybe it could expose, even if it's computer-based, it could expose data to people that other people could take advantage of. So we could live our lives that way, but being okay with today's the best day we're ever going to have. Or we could take risks. Now, Tay, I'm going to bet that you do drive. And so, Tay, you're now the 12th car that I'm going to ask. If you could, Tay, please send me the title to your car. I would appreciate that, because if you would like 100% chance of nothing bad happening, driving a car is a risky behavior. Even if it is a well-protected car, and even if you're a very good driver, you aren't in control of anybody else driving. And if you truly want to mitigate the risk of that, please send the title of your car to me, care of the NOCD headquarters in downtown Chicago, and I will take your car from you, therefore removing one of the risky, dangerous behaviors that you do maybe every day, which is driving your car. Hello, Elizabeth. Your obsessions and compulsions involve the idea that your bad thoughts will infect objects that you use with the thought. Like if you brush your hair and have a bad thought during that time, the hairbrush is now infected with that thought and you don't want to use it anymore. What kind of OCD is this? I affectionately call this cooties OCD. If you remember in grade school, you had cootie spray, and if there was a kid who you didn't like and they rubbed up on your desk or something, you'd be like, psh, spraying the cootie spray on you and yourself or something like that. So the idea is that a thought or an essence of something can be ruined by a thought or an image or an urge. So if that's the case, then my little screen cleaner ball here, as I stare at it, I hope that my niece and nephew fall down a flight of stairs tonight. Okay? And now I'm going to use it, and I'm not going to put it away. I'm going to use it to clean my camera. So now I have taken bad juju, I have put it into this screen ball, and I have now used the screen ball, which of course now means my niece and nephew are guaranteed to fall down a flight of stairs, according to what OCD is going to say. And yet tomorrow, when I find out that they didn't fall down a flight of stairs, we will have taught you, Elizabeth, that thoughts can't infect things and make things do certain things or be infected by any kind of bad essence or form or anything of that nature. So Elizabeth, I challenge you to have a bad thought while brushing your hair on purpose, and then to use that hairbrush again tomorrow morning and recognize that you can handle that. Anna says, imaginal scripting hasn't helped her because she becomes bored with, it hasn't helped her become bored with the thoughts. Instead, it's just made you even more scared that it will happen if you act out. Do you keep scripting? Well, I would move this to an imaginal exposure, Anna. So, Anna, we had talked about the baseball. So what I want you to do, Anna, is if you have the NOCD app on the therapy tools, there's a loop tape function. I want you to record on there. I'm going to throw a baseball at every single car that drives by. And then I want you to sit on your porch tomorrow, and I want you to listen to that on a loop over and over, holding a baseball and watching all the cars go by, and let's see what happens. And then hopefully by the end of the day, you'll see that this imaginal scripting and this loop still, even though it's scary, doesn't lead to the bad thing happening. And then hopefully you'll realize you actually have less to be afraid of. Zevjan says, am I familiar with hit and run OCD? Oh yeah, treat it all the time. So here's what is really interesting about hit and run OCD. The belief, of course, is that that wasn't a bump, that was a person. And so I think that people with hit and run OCD actually increase their chances of hitting someone, because once they've hit a bump and they're looking in the mirrors and all around and they're checking back behind them, they're actually paying less attention to the driving that they're doing, therefore actually increasing the chance that they would harm somebody. So the best thing to do is just, if you're hitting bumps, to hit bumps. Now, the last time I hit a bump, well, because I hit one every day, No bump has ever screamed before. I don't know about any of you, but if any of you has ever hit a bump that screamed, could you please let us all know on the channel right now where the screaming bump is? Because I'd like to drive over it and drive over the screaming bump. I think that'd be hysterical if there was a bump that actually screamed. I once took someone out who was afraid of this happening. We found a very bumpy road, and I had her turn all her mirrors up so that she, even if she looked in the mirror, she couldn't see behind her because they were all not facing where she needed them to face. And then as we were driving, I saw that somebody was throwing a couch out. So I said, hey, let me out right here. I want you to drive around the block as fast as possible. I want you to do it without me in the car. I might be a safety behavior, so I don't want to be in the car the whole time. So if you could just drive around the block without me in the car. And I ran over to the couch and I took one of the cushions off. And as she was coming down the street, I threw the cushion in the middle of the street. She slammed on her brakes and she's like, why'd you do that? And I said, what did I do? She said, well, you threw a couch cushion out in the street. I said, oh, did you see that? Well, of course I saw that. I said, well, I find it fascinating that you can see couch cushions, but you can't see people. And she just stared at me for a while and threw a few swear words at me, but laughingly. And then she said, fine, get in the car. I don't hit people. And she got it, right? She kind of finally understood that just because she had a thought didn't make it true or make it real. Okay. Layla says she's having trouble with trichotillomania, which is hair pulling for all of you. Layla, I would encourage you to go to the TLC, the Trichotillomania Learning Center, online and check it out. I think that you will find it to be a very helpful place. And a friend of mine, Doug Woods, is very good at doing some habit reversal and work as well. But the kind of therapy you'd want to look into, Layla, is habit reversal. For those of you with OCD, the kind of therapy you'll want is exposure and response prevention, which we've got going on through the NOCD app, available at treatmyocd.com. If you want to take a look at our website, you can download the app on the iOS or the Google Play Store, and you can go up into the corner right over there and click on that little blue link if you want to talk to one of our care team members who can set you up for a diagnostic assessment with one of our therapists. We are growing. We are in more and more states all the time, and we will be taking insurance very soon. Ryan says you're currently struggling with harm OCD, which is causing hugely distressing thoughts that you're a murderer, even that you may plan to kill someone. You hear it as self-talk. Is that normal? Yes, of course. That's absolutely normal. That's the way OCD works. So congratulations, Ryan, to the world of OCD and harm. So Ryan, I want you, when you're going out, if you go for a walk in your neighborhood, Ryan, which we're encouraging everyone to do, get outside for a little while. Stay 6 feet away from each other, but get outside for a while. But Ryan, what I want you to do is, as you're doing it, maybe record on your NOCD app in your loop tape, I'm a murderer and will kill all the people I walk past today, and then go out for a walk and walk past them and see if it actually happens, and allow yourself to realize, Ryan, that murderers don't come for therapy or go onto message boards and ask people if they might become a murderer. Murderers just go murder people. People with OCD go on message boards and ask people if they might be a murderer. Just say it. I mean, no one's ever walked in my office and said, by the way, Dr. McGrath, I'm a murderer and I love it, right? No, that doesn't happen. So Melody is having trouble with digital hoarding. Oh, we talked about that one already. So we gave some good tips on that one earlier. I can't tell if the intrusive thought requires problem solving or action, as you've been told most things you worry about are irrational, but you can't identify that possibility until the episode is over and on to something else. So action. If something irrational pops in your head, test it out. See if it actually occurs. So if it's, I think that if I don't count up to a number when I see when a bomb's going to go off, well, then you have to practice not counting up to a number to see if a bomb actually goes off. But you'll say, but what if it does and I could have prevented it? Yeah, well, then you're right. You could have prevented it. But as of yet, in my 20-year career, I haven't yet seen anybody do one of these things and the thing they're afraid of actually happen. So I haven't seen anyone not count to the number and a bomb actually go off, even though I've had people who are afraid of that. So you might be the first. I can't guarantee that you won't be, but I'm going to go with the odds here, and the odds say that you're not. So challenge it, face it, do it, see what happens. Angela's been in therapy for OCD for over 3 years. Shortly after you developed it, she said progress has been slow. It's almost tick-like. You also have hoarding. You're 30. You learned you also have ADD. You're trying to do your exposures, but find you're really good at procrastinating unpleasant tasks, which is now everything. Yeah, that happens. How do you combat OCD with the addition of ADD? All right, so Angela, here is what I have been telling some of my patients to do. I find out what their political affiliation is, and I then set up, here's the number of exposures to do a day or exercises, or here's the limit of like hand washes you're allowed to do or checkings or something like that. And if you go below the number you're supposed to do or above the number you're supposed to do, depending on if we're looking at number of exposures to do or number of hand washes or checks, you must put a quarter in a jar. And at the end of the week, all the quarters in that jar must be converted into currency that you mail to the opposite political party that you like. So I've got several people who are donating to the Republican or Democratic National Committee this month, all because they hate those parties and they are of the other party, but they're doing it because they went above or beyond their goals of doing exposure or not doing certain types of rituals. And I tell them I won't make another appointment with them or see them if they don't follow through on this. They have to do it. So you've got to add some response cost into this, and therefore learn that you can have something that helps to motivate you outside of just trying to motivate yourself. What does chronic mean in terms of something that lasts for a very long time or might be there forever? Erin wants to know how to stop letting false memories take control of thoughts. It's almost like she's having an argument with herself because you know that you did not do something, but the other part of me is like, what if I did? Well, here's my my lovely way to look at this, Erin. When a sentence begins with what if, I think it's crap. All right. Anxiety is 2 words, and those 2 words are what if, followed by the worst case scenario you can think of. All right. Now, here's the thing, Anna. No one's ever walked in my office and said, Dr. McGrath, what if everybody loves me and thinks I'm awesome? Nobody gives a crap about that. Nobody's afraid of that. In fact, most people would enjoy that and they don't seek therapy about that. You know who does walk in my office? What if I'm a murderer? What if I harm someone? What if I do this? What if I do that? What if I don't do this the right way and somebody gets hurt? What if I don't check my door enough times and somebody breaks in and steals my goldfish? What if I look at a child inappropriately? What if I am, though I'm straight, what if I become gay? Though I'm gay, what if I become straight? What if I don't love my partner enough? What if this isn't the relationship that I'm supposed to be in? What if? That's what OCD is. So here's the thing. OCD has a cousin. I'm sorry. What if has a cousin? What if's cousin is yeah, but. So here's a typical conversation for all of you out there. Dr. McGrath, what if I ran someone over with my car? Dr. McGrath's response is, well, you've been working on this for a while, and as you know, you haven't run anybody over. So I'm going to go with, we're going to have to sit with the chance that maybe you did, but the likelihood is that you didn't. So we're going to just sit with that for a while and be able to recognize that we can handle that thought. Patient response, yeah, but what if I really did run that person? OCD wins every argument because there's always one more yeah, but what if than there is logical Dr. McGrath answer. And so Dr. McGrath can't win any arguments. And this is why it's stupid for me to even try, which is why I don't try anymore to argue with OCD, because I already know I'm going to lose, because there will always be one more yeah, but what if. So instead, what do? We sit with discomfort and we learn that we can handle it. That's what we do. If your OCD says that it's bad to be near someone who's working and out in the world and might bring home the virus, I think we answered that earlier, so we got something like that already. John has POCD. There isn't too many compulsions that I do, either the looking up info and POCD online. I just feel pure anxiety and my eyes are drawn to the child. Why does my brain tell you to look at children when you really don't want to, and it causes me anxiety? Well, because that's the nature of OCD. So I'm going to use my clock analogy that we did last time, and we'll do it again. Consider a clock. Here's 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. We're going to go this way. All right? 12 o'clock. Hey, John, there's a kid over there. Don't look at it. Hey, John, don't think about that kid either. John, I noticed that maybe you slightly glanced over that way. Maybe you really wanted to do that. Maybe you didn't, but you did anyway. Or a thought did pop in your head about that child. John, I now have to punish you severely for having done that because I told you not to do that. So, John, here's all the rituals that you need to do in order to be back in my good graces. I'll wait for a while. Not just right yet. No, keep going, John. Okay. Oh, getting closer, John. Getting closer. Okay, good. Good, John. John, that's great. Good. Nice work. Welcome back to my good graces. Now, John, in order to stay in my good graces, remember, just don't think about or look at children. Sound like your life, John? There you go. For all of you who need help with that, the NOCD app will be available to you with NOCD therapists who are trained in OCD who can help you with all of those things. Kyle, you always have the thoughts, even when you go with the flow. Well, sure. I always have tinnitus, Kyle. I always sounds to me like I just walked out of a concert. I've had it for 25 years. I always have it with me. I'm wondering, Kyle, if I should be angry constantly about it, or can I just learn to live with it? Oh, wait, Kyle, I have just learned to live with it, even though it's annoying. But it's there. And I can still talk to all of you and do this thing, even though it also sounds to me like I just left a concert. And none of you are hearing that sound, but I am. So we can learn to live with it. John doesn't have a specific theme. Let's see. Just hundreds of bad, horrible thoughts and mental images that, and some many times, your mind keeps generating new ones. And they are horrible, as if you have a bad nature. So that might be what your OCD is. Your OCD is telling you, you're a bad apple there, Johnny. We'll call you Johnny Appleseed tonight. You're a bad apple there, Johnny. And here's the deal, John. If OCD is going to constantly tell you how bad you are, but you have no evidence of actually being a bad person, then why do you listen to what OCD tells you instead of going with what your actions tell you? So, John, I'm just going to ask you to tally up a couple things for me. How many people have rammed purposely with your car? How many people have you murdered? How many villages have you raped and pillaged? How many children have you just decided to randomly in the mall go up and punch in the head because they were throwing a tantrum with their parents? How many people have you taken coffee at a coffee shop and just spewed it all over everyone else to burn them? How many houses have you set on fire? And how much sugar have you put in gas tanks of cars? I'm going to go with the answers probably 0 to all of that, which means, John, I don't care what you think. I care what you do. Okay. You can have all the thoughts you want, John, all the images, all the urges. They don't really matter. Tanya says her OCD developed after a panic attack, and ever since she's monitored her bodily symptoms. Does that mean she'll always have it? It's like you learned it from one time of not knowing what panic attack was. Well, Tanya, go back to what I typed in earlier. Interoceptive exposure, INTEROCEPTIVE exposure. There's a really good book out called An End to Panic. Again, An End to Panic. I highly recommend getting a copy of it. There's some wonderful exposure exercises and explanations of them in there. And I think if you practice dealing with the panic attack exposures, you will see a significant decrease in the OCD experiences that you are having. John says his OCD is attached to regrettable events from his youth. How might I suggest dealing with very distressing thoughts and intense guilt associated with this event? You have an intense feeling of needing to confess. John, we've all probably got an intense thing from our youth that we regret, we wish we didn't do, we would be embarrassed if most people knew about. If you want an idea of some of this, there's a great series on TV. It might be on Netflix. I think I saw it there, called Mortified, but you can probably get it on YouTube as well. And it's where people get up on stage and read their journals from when they were in high school and grade school. And it is freaking hysterical watching these people just admit to all of this stupid stuff and crushes they had and dumb stuff they did and stupid thoughts that they experienced and all that kind of stuff. And now here's a TV show and people being applauded on stage for revealing all of these things. and you're sitting there thinking that you need to be punished for it. I just want you to know that there are other ways of thinking about it other than you must be punished for these things. Because there's someone who's already made a TV show out of it, and there's people making money going up on stage and telling these stories as well too. If you don't see how if with hit and run therapy, you don't see how exposure you could help, you wouldn't wish it on your worst enemy. You keep getting told there is help. You just don't see how. Well, I want you to go driving and hope you hit people. That's what I want you to do. So every time you get in the car, when you start the car, I want you to say to yourself, I sure hope I run over 25 people today. That's what I want you to do. And I want you to recognize that even doing that, it still doesn't make you run people over. Okay? That's what I need to have happen. And remember, if you need help with that, people on the NOCD app can be helpful. Our therapists are really good at those types of things. What's the difference between OCD and OCPD, obsessive compulsive personality disorder? OCPD is basically, why don't you go sit in the I can't talk. Why don't you go sit in the corner and color and let me do all the work? Because you're an idiot and don't know how to do it, and I do, because I'm the only one who could do it right, and you'll do it wrong. And even if you did it exactly the way I wanted you to do it, I'd probably take it apart and still do it anyway, because only I could do it right. So obsessive compulsive personality disorder doesn't actually have obsessions or compulsions. It should have been called anal retentive personality disorder. That would have been a far better name for it than obsessive compulsive personality disorder. And it's from this old notion that people with OCD are just overly controlled and all that kind of stuff. So, but that's basically what it is. It's all about control. It should be overly controlled personality disorder, not obsessive compulsive personality disorder. And if you have to be in control of everything, and you're stingy about money, and your beliefs are you're right, everybody's wrong, you might fit the criteria for OCPD. And if that's the case, you're probably amazingly annoying to many people that you know, and you probably don't have a lot of friends because people don't want to be around you after a while because they're sick of your know-it-all kind of attitude. But if you also have it, you don't care because you know you're right and they're wrong. So that's just the way it goes. All right, last one for the night. Kira gets disturbing thoughts stuck in her head. She's not afraid of that the thoughts mean anything, but they are unpleasant. You have OCD, but you're not sure whether this is an OCD symptom. If it is, how can I treat it with ERP? Kira, I want you to make a loop tape of all of those thoughts that pop in your head, and I want you to listen to a loop of those going on and on. You can also write them all out. You can even draw little drawings of some of them. The NOCD app allows for something like that as well, too. And then you can have them pop up randomly. You can put drawings up of them on your wall. If there are certain movies about them, like let's say that you don't like thinking about murdering people, you can watch a horror film and watch people get axe murdered all over the place. And you can recognize that you can sit with those thoughts and those images and those urges, and it doesn't make you a bad person. And you don't need to be so afraid of that. And it doesn't say anything about you. And you can deal with the unpleasantness as well. All right, everyone. It's time for this guy to get some dinner because it's 8 o'clock here Central and I haven't eaten yet today. So I've really enjoyed hanging out with all of you. I hope to see you again next week. Keep the questions coming. We always look forward to meeting with all of you. And remember, for your treatment therapy needs, consider the NOCD app as the community where you can post more of these questions out and people can support you. And we've got tons of therapists available and openings available to you as well for therapy. So go to treatmyocd.com or go to the little up in the corner there clicker and check it out. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.